People are sharing the creepiest unsolved mysteries that they can't stop thinking about. So I decided to look into the details of each one. Brandon Swanson's case always boggled my mind. The fact that he alerted his parents that he was lost and needed help. They were on the phone with him, heading toward him, only to hear his last moments. To know they were so close is so terrifying. Recently, Reddit user uRandomWeeb asked the people of r/Ask Reddit to share the creepiest unsolved mystery that keeps them up at night. After reading through some of these, I will definitely not be sleeping soundly for the next couple of days. Here are the most bone-chilling cases. Warning: disturbing and graphic content ahead.
One. Crystal Rogers. A mother of 5 vanishes in a small Kentucky town. Crystal Rogers was a loving mother of 5, a daughter, sister, and a friend who lived in Bardstown, a small rural town in Kentucky, located 40 miles from Louisville. She was 35 years old when she vanished. At first glance, Bardstown seems quaint and filled with all the charms of a small town. However, it's filled with sinister secrets. Many who live in Bardstown believe that Crystal's disappearance could be linked to 4 other unsolved cases in Bardstown. The murder of on-duty Bardstown police officer Jason Ellis on May 25, 2013, the double homicide of Kathy and Samantha Netherland on April 22, 2014, and the murder of Crystal's father, Tommy Ballard, on November 19, 2016. The day Crystal went missing. Crystal was last seen on the afternoon of July 3, 2015, playing games on her phone at her home. She lived with her boyfriend, Brooks Hook, which was the last time she would be seen alive. The next day, Crystal would be reported missing by her mother, Sherry Ballard, after she couldn't make contact with Crystal. A short time after filing a missing person report, Crystal's parked red Chevrolet Impala car would be discovered on Bluegrass Parkway near mile marker 14 in Bardstown. Crystal's keys, phone, and purse would also be inside the car. The car was taken into police custody to be tested for forensic evidence. However, in the Oxygen docuseries, The Disappearance of Crystal Rogers, the car appeared like it was never tested. No items from her car were ever booked into evidence. In the time since Crystal went missing, her family did everything possible to bring their daughter home, including putting a missing person sign in the exact location where Crystal's car is discovered. Her family was incredibly vocal about the lack of support they received from Crystal's boyfriend, Brooks. On July 8, 2015, Brooks would deny any connection or involvement in Crystal's disappearance. During this interview, Brooks's brother, Nick Hook, would call him, advising him to not talk to officers. However, it wouldn't be long before he would be named a suspect, and authorities would announce that Crystal is presumed dead. On July 15th, Bardstown police officer Nick Hook, Brooks's brother, would be interviewed by Nelson County Sheriff's Office in relation to the case. He would agree to take a polygraph test several days later, which he would ultimately fail. As a result, Nick Hook was fired from Bardstown Police Department on October 16, 2015, because of interfering with the ongoing investigation. Tragedy after tragedy. The Ballard family experienced another tragedy just a year after Crystal vanished. On November 19, 2016, Tommy Ballard was shot and killed while out hunting with his young grandson on his farm. Tommy was a fierce advocate for his daughter's case, who kept a detailed record of Crystal's case. It is believed that Crystal's case is somehow connected to Tommy's murder. On the 1-year anniversary of Tommy's death, yellow and black signs started showing up around Bardstown, including one that read, "Detective Hook killed Rogers." By 2020, the FBI Louisville took over the investigation and quickly issued multiple federal warrants to search 3 different properties belonging to Nick and Brooks Hook. The FBI found items of interest but has not released what was discovered on the properties. In July 2020, remains were discovered and taken to FBI headquarters in Quantico, but it was determined that the remains did not belong to Crystal. where the case stands today. Now, after nearly a decade of countless advocates and agencies putting their heads together and looking for answers, authorities have arrested Huck and charged him with murder and evidence tampering. Crystal's case is still unsolved and her body has not been found. Crystal Rogers is described as 5'9" tall, weighing 150 lbs, with shoulder-length blonde hair and blue eyes. FBI Louisville is offering $25,000 for any information that leads to an arrest, conviction, or identification of the individuals responsible for Crystal's disappearance. However, the family is offering an additional reward. If you know something regarding Crystal's disappearance, please contact the FBI tip line at 1-800-CALL-FBI. 3 individuals have been charged in relation to Crystal's disappearance: Stephen Lawson, Joseph Lawson, and Crystal's then-boyfriend, Brooks Houck. Brooks Houck has been charged with murder, while Joseph and Stephen Lawson have both been charged with criminal conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with physical evidence. This is a developing story. Two, Crystal Timic. A 6-year-old girl disappears while playing outside with her brothers. Crystal Ann Timic was a beautiful 6-year-old who was described by her mother as fun-loving and high-spirited. Crystal loved video games and enjoyed spending time at arcades in the area. Crystal often traveled back and forth from her mother's home in Santa Monica to her father's home in the Hyde Park neighborhood of Los Angeles, with her 3 older brothers. On June 30th, 1994, 6-year-old Crystal Ann Timic spent the warm summer day playing outside near her father's home with her 3 older brothers. The group was near a neighbor's home competing in a childlike competition of who could throw a peach the furthest over a neighbor's home. Crystal's older brother, Jeffrey, specifically remembers when one of their parents or their grandmother called them back to their home. He explained in several interviews that the 2 other brothers started running back to their house, and when he followed, he glanced behind him, and Crystal was not following. The last reported sighting of Crystal was sometime between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. Crystal's worried family searched frantically around the neighborhood for just under an hour before calling the police and reporting their 6-year-old daughter missing. From the very beginning, Crystal's case was labeled as an abduction, and she was considered to be an endangered missing child. Neighbors told police that they didn't notice anything unusual or suspicious in the area that day. When the police arrive, a large-scale search begins, including neighbors, nearly 100 police officers, and agents from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Around this same time, a $10,000 reward is offered by the City Council, hoping for Crystal's safe and timely return. A localized tactical alert was placed that afternoon, demanding that all law enforcement officials who were on shift at the time stay on shift to help in the search efforts until the alert was canceled. The searches continued into the night, and the localized tactical alert was canceled at approximately 4:30 a.m. on the morning of July 1st. Unfortunately, there isn't much information available regarding the search efforts through the remainder of 1994 through 1995. A new reward of $25,000 was offered in March of 1996, pleading for someone to come forward with information around 9 months after Crystal was last seen. This reward, sadly, was terminated on May 5, 1996, as mentioned in the reward offer from that March, due to the reward not being collected. Nothing further came to light in Crystal's case until 2005, other than generous actions that were taken by a local plumbing company who placed Crystal's poster on the back of their company trucks in February of 1997. Crystal's case gained the public's attention once again in August of 2005 when the search of a neighbor's home was conducted by countless law enforcement officials. The home, which is located directly across the street from where Crystal's family was living at the time of her disappearance, was thoroughly searched after a tip was placed regarding a suspicious burial of an animal, which reportedly took place shortly after Crystal was last seen. Unfortunately, the search of this home would only result in animal bones being found on the property. Today, law enforcement officials continue looking for Crystal and spreading awareness about her case, and members of Crystal's family continue searching for their loved one. Today, there is a $10,000 reward that continues to be offered for any information that would lead to Crystal's return or to the arrest and conviction of the individual or individuals responsible for her disappearance. At the time of her disappearance in 1994, Crystal Ann Timic was 6 years old and was described as being 4 tall and weighing 60 libs, with blonde hair and hazel eyes. Crystal was last seen wearing a pink t-shirt, floral print shorts, and white tennis shoes with The Little Mermaid on them. Today, Crystal would be 34 years old and has sadly remained missing for nearly 28 years. If you have any information regarding her disappearance, please contact the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or the Los Angeles Police Department. 3. Lisa Irwin. An 11-month-old baby vanishes from her home after her parents put her to bed. Lisa Irwin was only 11 months old when she vanished from her Kansas City MO home on October 4, 2011. She was born on November 11, 2010, to her parents Deborah Bradley and Jeremy Irwin, and has 2 older brothers. The day Lisa went missing. On October 3, 2011, Jeremy Irwin returns home around 2:30 p.m. from his job as an electrician. He watched the kids while Deborah got some rest. Around 4:45 p.m., Deborah and her brother are seen on surveillance footage going to a supermarket. They are seen shopping around the store and purchasing baby food and boxed wine. While Deborah was QT the grocery store, Samantha Brando, a next-door neighbor and friend of the family, checked on Lisa in her crib along with her young daughter. Jeremy is also home with the kids. By 5 p.m., Deborah and her brother return home. A half-hour later, Jeremy got a call for a night gig doing electrical work at a local Starbucks. It was rare that Jeremy was called in for night shifts, but the family needed the money. He told Deborah he planned to return home by 10 p.m. Deborah put baby Lisa to bed around 6:40 p.m. Samantha came over and the two sat on the porch, smoking cigarettes and drinking, while their other children played. By 10:30 p.m., Samantha leaves, and Deborah's 2 boys fall asleep in her bed. Earlier that day, Deborah found a stray kitten which she took in. Before Deborah herself went to bed, she placed 3 cell phones on the kitchen counter, which were shut off due to non-payment. Samantha was on the porch until 11:30 chatting with another neighbor. However, according to phone records at 11:57 p.m., a call was attempted from one of the 3 phones left on the counter to a woman named Megan. Strangely, Deborah and Jeremy do not know a woman named Megan. Detectives looked back at phone records and could not find a connection between Jeremy and Deborah to Megan. An eyewitness claims that a person who lived in the same house as Megan picked up her phone. This witness was never identified, and it was believed he gave authorities a fake name. When Lisa is discovered missing. Jeremy returns home from his night gig around 3:30 a.m. Upon entering the home, he was annoyed to find most of the lights were left on. Jeremy took note of some oddities in the home. He noticed that Deborah took in a stray kitten, the front door was unlocked, and the computer room window was pushed in. He then proceeds to check on his wife and children and notices that Lisa is not in her crib. Lisa's parents checked the entire house with the exception of the backyard, because Deborah was afraid of what she might find. Once Lisa was reported missing, a witness came forward with information. While the witness's name was never made public, they told officials that they saw a man walking with a baby around 4 a.m. The witness recalls that morning being very cold, and the Lisa was not dressed appropriately for the cold weather, which they found suspicious. On October 6, 2011, police responded to a nearby dumpster fire only a few blocks away from the Irwin residence. There was evidence of burnt baby clothes found inside the dumpster. While the articles of clothing did not match what Lisa was wearing the night she went missing, law enforcement believes it could be other clothing that Lisa owned. Law enforcement has not confirmed if this incident is directly related to Lisa's case. The following day, Deborah took a polygraph test. She is told that she failed, but it is later revealed that this was an interrogation tactic because the police couldn't establish if she was connected to Lisa's disappearance. On October 17, 2011, the FBI executed a search warrant on the home. Cadaver dogs were also brought in and identified as a positive location of remains in Irwin's bedroom. Law enforcement also obtained several items including a multicolor comforter, purple shorts, a multicolored Disney character shirt, a glowworm toy, a Cars-themed blanket, rolls of tape, and a tape dispenser. They were also taking carpet samples and digging up the backyard. Where the case stands today. Oddly enough, in May 2012, Jeremy's debit card was used on a website known for name-changing services. It was a British website, and he was charged $69.04. It is speculated that this website can be used to purchase birth certificates. Lisa's case remains unsolved. Her parents, while they have been considered as persons of interest, have not been formally charged in connection to Lisa's disappearance.